All right, let's do the first one, which is strings. I want to create a new file and just call it types.html. And we're going to use our base HTML base in there. And I'm going to give ourselves a script source, which will go to types.js. Then I'll go ahead and make another file in the playground called types.js. And in here, we will just console.log. It works. Open that up in your browser. Open up our thing. There we go. It works. Okay, so strings, what are they? They're used for holding text. There are 3 different ways to create strings in JavaScript. There's single quotes, double quotes, and backticks. So let's make const name is equal to Wes. Const middle is equal to Topher. We'll do double. And const last is equal to backticks boss. So before I even hit save here, this actually might just be fixed for me. Let's give it a save. You see that immediately just changed itself to a single quote. So the way that we can fix that, because we actually want to try single and double quotes, is you go to your first line of there and you give yourselves a comment. And this is different than the other kind of comment, which I've been showing you, which is just 2 forward slashes. That will comment out the entire line, or you can put a comment at the end of the line. But a */ will open up what's called a block comment. And then you can just close your block comment whenever you wish to close it. So this will go for multiple lines. In our case, we just want it on one line, but ESLint is looking for a block comment. So we'll just type ESLint-disabled and give that a save. And maybe it's just disable. There we go. So it's ESLint-disable, and that will just disable the entire file. You can also just ESLint disable line, and that will disable one line. And now if I go back and give myself double quotes, it's not actually going to go ahead and fix it for me. So single and double quotes, and then we have backticks. What's the difference? For my prettier settings, I generally stick with either backticks or single quotes. And I have prettier currently set up to correct myself to single quotes, although I have been sort of contemplating myself just switching to backticks entirely, and I'll talk about why in just a second. So single quotes and double quotes are exactly the same thing. The only reason we sort of have both is because if you were having a sentence like const sentence, and you wanted to say in single quotes, "She's so cool," you see what just happened there? I broke my JavaScript. Why? Because I opened my string, I typed she's, and then I needed an apostrophe for apostrophe S, but the JavaScript interpreter took that as me closing the string, and now it's going to, watch this, unexpected identifier on line 6, and you see that if you hover over top of it, it starts underlining it right away at the S, right? So it's just like, whoa, what's this S from, right? Like if I put a semicolon there, I think it might even told us now it gives us the same error. So what can we do in that case? There's a couple options here. First, you can do what's called escaping. And escaping in JavaScript allows you to tell JavaScript, no, I actually want this character. Don't take this as JavaScript syntax, take it as text. And escaping is with just a /. So you see that is a sort of pink in my editor. Your editor might be different depending on what you have. And then we no longer have an issue. And if I were to pull up that sentence, you see that is she's so cool. That / is actually not in there. So that's how you can sort of escape a character that you want. Kind of annoying in my opinion, because you have to like remember to type them. And then also if you want a /, like what if you wanted like a / in your code? Now it's broken. So you have to escape the / with another escape value, and then it works. And I don't know how many, what if you do 2, then it's broken. But if you do 4, then you get 2. There you go. So you kind of get the point. Obviously the other better option there is just to use the other type of quote that you have there. So instead of using single quotes, just use double quotes, and you don't have to worry about that. And that's great. The other sort of bummer there is if you also needed double quotes in there. So if you want to do like air quotes, she's so cool, and you were to put quotes around this cool here, then we have the same problem where we just broke our string. So you'd have to escape the one that you want and then also escape that one. And I think that should work for us. There we go. So that's part of the actual string. So those are the sort of the two differences between those. The sort of the third option is the backticks, which is just sort of gets away from all of that. So we could just make a sentence 2 here and then use backticks. And that will just work without having to escape. The only sort of downside is if you did really want a backtick inside of your string, you would have to escape that, just like we did with the single and double quotes that we have there. So that's single, double, and backticks. They are all the same kind of string. That's one sort of benefit that you have to using backticks there. The next thing is putting strings on multiple lines. So if I have like a song and I want to set that to, let's use single quotes here, and we'll say, oh yeah, I like pizza. So like that's one string, right? I open it right here and I close it right there. However, you already see that this is being underlined because there's a problem with it. And if I refresh this, we get an unexpected token on line 9 because it expected us to actually go ahead and close that. So like, how do you do multi-line strings? Well, you probably don't even put any room in your brain for this because you won't need it all that often. But if you want to have a new line, you have to put a forward slash, forward slash, forward slash at the end of every single line. And that will allow you to put a string on multiple lines. And then if you were to look at the string, it's still just on one single line. As I say, this is no way to live your life having to put these things in here. So the benefit to using backticks is that you can have multi-line strings and they actually maintain all of the line breaks that we have inside of them. So it's actually not necessary to do any of that. And I refresh here, take a look. There's our song. You'll see, like when I type it, it will preview it with these little return characters. That means new line in JavaScript. And then we actually look at it. That's going to be extremely helpful for when we want to make HTML. So like, let's say we have like build a new one. So const HTML is equal to backticks. And then inside of that, we want like a div. And then inside of that, maybe you want an H2. Previously with single and double quotes, we had to like do all of that weird like new line stuff. Or we had to use what is called concatenation, which let's take a look at that right now. So this is sort of, I guess, the third benefit to using backticks here. It's called interpolation and concatenation. So let's go through those words real quick. A concatenation is when 2 or more strings are combined into one. And the word interpolation is when you put a variable inside of a string. So let's make a new variable called, we already have a variable called name. And let's make a hello sentence. And if we want to say like, hello, my name is, and then we want to say, nice to meet you. So if I want to put my name right in the middle, right here, previously with double and single quotes, what you have to do is you actually have to close the quote. So you close the string, you put a plus in there, which is concatenation. Then you put your variable, then you put another plus, and then you continue on with opening your other quote there. So what we did here is we took one string and then we added a second string here, and then we had to do the concatenation in here. And if we say, take a look at hello, and you see, like I already goofed that up, right? My name is Wes, right? I have to put a space there. Okay, so that's how it works. And it also works for single quotes as well. You can mix and match them if you like. There's no difference between single and double quotes. And also JavaScript doesn't remember what type of quotes you've used. So like you might be seeing like, oh, like these are these are double quotes here, and I made it with single quotes. No, it's a string is a string. In JavaScript, it doesn't remember what type of quotes you use to make that string. So that's what is referred to as concatenation. And this is sort of how you do interpolation, meaning this is how you put a variable in the middle of a string. And it's kind of annoying. Another way that people would do it is you might say something like, let hello2 is equal to hello, my name is space. And then you would do hello2 is equal to hello2 plus name. And then you would do it again. Hello2 is equal to hello2 plus space. Nice to meet you. And that's just annoying because essentially what we're doing is we're just overwriting the variable every single line. So we're initially creating a variable, and then we overwrite the variable value to whatever it was previously plus the new variable. And let's take a look and see if it actually worked. Hello2. There we go. So it works. But again, it's no way to live your life. It's awful to work with it. And also this plus here, plus is generally used for numbers, as we're gonna learn about. But plus, if you use a plus with a string, then it works in concatenation. So the plus kind of does two things in JavaScript. It does a number, so 1 plus 1. But then it also does, like, if I do 1 plus 1, I get 11 because I'm adding that. Or if I do 1 plus like a string plus a number, then I get 11. And if I do a number plus a string, I also get 11. So like that's ripe for bugs, and I hate doing that. So that's where backticks come in. Much nicer. Let's just comment all this out here, and we'll just say const hello, and then we'll use backticks. Let's say hello, my name is period. Nice to meet you. And then if you want to interpolate, if you want to put a variable inside of a string, you use this syntax, $ curly brackets, and then you can just put your variable inside of there. And this syntax here can only ever be used in backticks. And that's sort of one of the benefits for always going with backticks, is that if you ever want to pop a variable inside of a string, you just go ahead and use that. Now, if we take a look at hello, we see it's working very nicely. Actually, almost anything can go inside of these things, as we're going to be learning. So you maybe can do some math. So I am 1 plus 100 years old. And JavaScript will sort of like run whatever is inside of this. We're going to learn about bed mass in the future, but just as sort of a look ahead, it will run whatever is inside of that, whether it's a variable or an actual statement, and then it will return the value is inside of it. See, I am 101 years old. So huge benefit to that. Again, you can do multiple lines with backticks. You can do variable interpolation with backticks. And then there's even something a little bit more advanced that's called a tagged template literal, which we're not going to look at because we are not getting into functions just yet. Finally, this will be really helpful for creating HTML. So if I say like const HTML is equal to, and we'll do backticks, and inside of that, I'll have like a div. And inside of that, I'll have an h2, and I'll put the person's name. And then inside of that, maybe I'll just put the hello, maybe inside of a paragraph tag. And then I've got all of this HTML that I've made. We'll talk a lot more about creating HTML, but you'll see that I've just created a string that is HTML, and we can actually take that and dump it into, we can say something like document.body.inner HTML is equal to HTML. Again, we're going to go much more into this in the future, as well as some possible security things that may be happening here. So don't just start building a website just yet with this. But you'll see, there we go. I've just made some HTML, and if I inspect it, you'll see it's a regular. There's our div, there's our h2, and there's our paragraph tag that I've dumped into it. So that is strings. Let's jump into numbers.